It's still unknown what specifically causes inflammatory bowel disease, but we have a pretty good theory. Hi everyone, my name is Remus, and today I'll be explaining the basics of IBD in a way that's simple and easy for anyone to understand. Because if you're anything like me, when you were first diagnosed, you found the information out there to be a little bit scary and frightening. Disclaimer, I do understand that this topic is pretty broad and that some of the areas I'm going to touch on today are hotly debated in the medical community, and I'm just a guy with the disease, so what do I know? But I will make future videos going into a little bit more detail on each of these topics that I'm going to touch on. So without further ado, let's jump in. IBD stands for inflammatory bowel disease, a term used to group medical conditions where the intestines become red and swollen. Crohn's and colitis are the two major diseases in this group. Personally, I got Crohn's. Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis affect the GI tract, also known as the gastrointestinal tract, which basically begins in your mouth, down your throat, into your stomach, through your intestines, and then finally ends at your ass. Not the planet, like your actual. Ulcerative colitis specifically affects the large intestine, also known as the colon. Crohn's disease, on the other hand, can affect any part of the GI tract. I'll make a separate video both for Crohn's and colitis just to go into a little bit more depth. But what causes inflammatory bowel disease? It's still unknown what specifically causes inflammatory bowel disease, but we have a pretty good theory. Let me first run you through what a normal immune response in the gut is. Now, when the immune system finds an invader in your gut, like a virus or a bacteria, your immune system will target that specific foreign body and attack it. Sometimes this will cause inflammation. But inflammation is a good thing because it just sends the right cells to help with the fight and deal with that foreign invader. Now, when that foreign invader, the virus or the bacteria, is dealt with, the inflammation subsides and everything goes back to normal. Think of it like a group of well-trained military ops. They go in, they find the target, they deal with the target, zero collateral damage. You can go back to normal. Now compare that to someone with IBD, someone like me with Crohn's. It's pretty much the same. The whole thing is kind of the same, except for two main points. Point one, sometimes the foreign invader isn't actually a foreign invader. Sometimes that thing that your immune system attacks could be just a normal bacteria inside of your microbiome of little guys trying to help you absorb certain things or make you want to eat certain things in your stomach. And it just chose smoke.
So basically, what I was thinking of was, I can't believe you've done that.
It's a psychopath. It's mad aggressive. Speaking of aggression, point two, the inflammation doesn't stop. The inflammation just continues. Even though that poor bugger is dead, he's just gonna keep going. He's just on smoke that day, or for how long it just wishes to just attack your body. It will continue to attack and cause damage to healthy cells, which can create ulcers and bleeding inside your GI tract, which is, to be honest, no fun. Now we have a better idea of what IBD is and what kind of causes it. Let's talk about the problems it creates. Let's talk about symptoms. I know some of these symptoms do sound a little scary, and you're right, they are a little frightening. But understand that symptoms vary from person to person, and the intensity of them varies too. But it's good to keep an open mind and have knowledge on what symptoms you can get so that you can check yourself. And before the symptom becomes, an actual problem, you can bring it up to your doctor and you can go through a plan of how to treat said symptom. Let's just list some off the dome. Ulcers, bleeding, fatigue, diarrhea, urgent bowel movements, loss of appetite, nausea, cramp. These are just a few of the symptoms that you can get with inflammatory bowel disease. Obviously, like the main indicator for most people is like cramping or blood, like you find blood in your stool. In my case, I was pretty scared of getting bleeding due to that fear and other things related to the disease. I just didn't take much responsibility when I was first diagnosed to manage it or, be responsible in taking my medications. So I left it unchecked. And it's crazy because a few years later, I got the symptom that I never wanted to get. I got bleeding, internal bleeding. Could I have stopped this from happening? Retrospectively, I could have. I could have been more responsible and taken my meds and looked at managing my disease. But my fear of getting that symptom made me so blissfully ignorant that I managed to manifest the symptom that I wanted least. What? Think that's deep, right? By watching this video and other videos like this, you're doing better than I was. You're moving away from fear. You're demonstrating that you want to learn more, that you're not scared of this disease, that you're looking at ways to improve yourself. Hey, proud of you. Thankfully, there are ways to treat the symptoms of IBD, specifically the symptoms, because there's no actual cure for IBD yet. There are a few options for medications. We have anti-inflammatories, biologics, and immune suppressors. Now, I can't take one and tell you to talk to your doctor about that one specifically. I would say talk to your doctor about all three. They will probably tell you if it's right for you at the current stage of your disease, because it's really up to you and your doctor. There's no one that's gonna help everyone. It's just whatever works for you. Now, if you're curious, at the time of this video, I'm actually taking azathioprine and Humira, also known as adalimumab. I'm pretty sure these are both immune suppressors, but I'm also certain that Humira is a biologic. I'm pretty sure. There are a few other non-medication options, like alternative medicine, home remedies. I wouldn't personally recommend alternative medicine and home remedies because I've personally tried them myself. It's one of those things that you think it's working, but it's not working in my experience. So, if you want to try it, more power to you, go try it. There's also diet. Diet is one of those things where you need to find the right one for you. People swear by carnivore diet, pescatarian, vegetarian, vegan, Mediterranean. But the thing is, we got to find the right one for you. Now that brings me on to my next point, food tracking and symptom tracking. With these two tracking systems, you can find the diet that's best for you. Because by trying different foods and eliminating ones and keeping ones that are safe for you, depending on how symptoms react to those specific foods, you can start building a diet that's right for you, that doesn't cause symptoms or irritations, or that just makes you feel better. So remember to track your foods and your symptoms. Now, I'm not the best at doing these things, but there are apps out there. They're very good at symptom tracking. They might have a food tracking, I can't remember. But if they don't have a food tracking thing on there, you can use a notebook. Put down in a notebook which foods that you don't like. Let's quickly talk about mindfulness. Now, we all know that we can't always control the situation that we're in or the environment that we're in, because sometimes that environment or situation can be stressful or anxious. But we can get a handle of our minds. Now, I'm not saying we're going to need to meditate or, do anything crazy, but as long as we have some tools in our bag, it could be meditation, it could be breathing, it could be just going for a walk, to take the stress and anxiety out. Because we all know that sometimes stress and anxiety can flare up our symptoms. Now, there is something that's really interesting that I've linked in the description. There is something called the gut-brain connection. Now, I haven't dived very deep into this topic, and I really want to do like a separate video going into what it is and how it works. But feel free to click on that link, go down the rabbit hole as far as you want, and please come back, type in the comments what you found, because I will be very interested. But that is one topic that is quite interesting and needs a separate video. How about exercise? A lot of people kind of cringe when people start saying, go to the gym, it makes you feel better. I would be one of those people. I love the gym. But I'm not going to advocate for the gym specifically. I'm just advocating for activity and exercise in general. Because activity itself is really good for your body. It's really good for your joints and your organs, just to keep moving. Because like most of us know, if we've been to hospital, it's really hard to recover if we're not moving, if we're not keeping active. That's why a lot of the nurses try to get you out of bed, get you to do a little walk so they can, you know, get your body to start working as it did before. Now, as much as I want to tell everyone to go to the gym, it's not going to work because it's not for everybody. But activity is for everyone. It doesn't have to be crazy. Just go for a walk. You could do some gardening. You can play sports with your friends. It's just important that every day you do something that's going to get your heart rate up and just get your body moving. Now, I know this last one is a little scary, but it is surgery. Surgery is obviously a non-medication treatment. It is a treatment that is usually the last case scenario, but most of the time when it is offered to you, it is offered because it is your only option. Sometimes the disease just goes too far. These treatments that I explained before, like medications and diets and things like that, they can help your symptoms, can reduce your symptoms. And by reducing your symptoms, this, can stop the inflammation from continuously attacking your healthy cells in your gut. But if the symptoms are persistent and they just keep attacking your healthy cells in your gut, this can cause a lot of damage. Sometimes this damage is irreversible. This damage is here to stay now, like ulcers or strictures. I've had surgery before and I don't regret it because that part of my intestine was so damaged, there was no going back. It had to be removed. Sweet. I think that basically covers everything about IBD, and I hope you learned a few new things as well. I know we did gloss over a few topics there, but I am planning on making some separate videos going into a little bit more detail about them. So in the meantime, jump in the comments, ask me some questions, or just give me a better idea of what videos you're looking for and what questions you really want to be answered. But until then, thanks for watching the video. Peace. First, let me just run you through what a normal